Welcome to Faith Over Breakfast. You are listening to a podcast by Pastor Eric Deepen and Pastor Andy Littleton. If you enjoy Faith Over Breakfast, we encourage you to rate it on the Apple Podcast app, on Spotify, or Google Play. Thank you and enjoy the podcast.
Welcome to Faith Over Breakfast. My name is Andy Littleton. I'm sitting with Eric Deepen, and we have just discussed Advent, but not just Advent. Eric, what else?
We got some bonus material. Just about what does it look like to be in relationship with people, and some of Andy's, not angst, but just sort of his rawness, he said. Yes, opened up a little for us so at near the end of the podcast. So Don't fast forward because all of it's good, but there's some good, rich stuff with Andy.
Oh, there you go. All right. So now that you're on the edge of your seat.
That's right.
Unless you're out jogging, in which case you're on the edge of your shoe. Enjoy.
This is on the edge of your shoe kind of material. Hey, good to see you.
Oh, hey, thanks. So,
I've seen you for all of like a minute.
Like, if that.
Yeah.
Hey.
We are now in we call this hyperspeed Faith Over Breakfast.
Yeah.
You walk in, we throw the headphones on.
Thank
goodness we
drop the headphones and leave.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
Yeah, pretty much.
These are shorter podcasts.
Yeah.
So we can just jump right in.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Advent.
Okay. Eric, I'm
going to interview you about Advent.
Good. I was hoping so.
All right, so tell me a little bit about your experience of Advent, Andy.
Like today?
No, just like over time and what you think of Advent, and has it been important to you at any level?
Let's see. I'm gonna try this approach out of saying not really.
Okay.
And so I did not grow up in the home or church that like made the big. I mean, maybe an Advent calendar was once there, the little cardboard one. For me, it was not a profound experience, and something that I was like, this is good, or I want to press into this more. So there you go. So when you sent me this topic yesterday, I did not have a chance to read that article because it's nighttime and the family and various stuff, and I went, well, this is gonna be one where it's gonna be mostly coming from Eric.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. So you didn't grow up with Advent at all. Did your church do anything with Advent at all?
I mean, if they did, it would have been like maybe there's a calendar here and there, or a candle perhaps, and I didn't even know what the word meant. Yeah.
Okay. And then Mission Church though, do you guys do Advent at all?
Well, maybe stemming from that and some of our other backgrounds, it's something that we do a Christmas series, but many of these, like the things that churches did, we're reopening those portals and possibilities, but Epicenter before us, and that we weren't so much looking for the things the church had done.
Right.
Now we, in many ways, we do a lot today of liturgy and such. But a formal Advent has not really been one of those things that we've integrated yet.
Yeah, so I had a very similar growing up.
Yeah.
I didn't even know what Advent was until I was in college, and somebody explained it to me. We just had Christmas.
Yeah.
And the Christmas story and Christmas tree.
All that.
That's it.
Yep.
And I would say there was more ritual built into decorating the tree than any kind of religious process or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think probably I moved into celebrating Advent more after reading Ancient Future Faith, I think is the title by Weber.
Okay.
The idea that we're creating something new and at the same time resting not on the middle part of Christian history, but on the ancient part of Christian history, sort of. So that's how Advent kind of entered into my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now, I think our church, probably that was the first thing we celebrated.
Yeah, it was
as
Advent.
a community was Advent.
Interesting. Yeah, maybe for us it's just going to be the opposite. It's going to be the last thing we do.
It's the last thing we do.
Because all every church is like, I'll try out this Advent thing is kind of part of the church calendar. We're gonna find the most obscure. We're gonna be big on ordinary time.
You're gonna be huge on ordinary.
And then in fact, one day we'll add
That's
Advent.
what Protestants are. They just on ordinary time.
Just constant ordinary time.
Yeah. So in the calendar, Advent means coming, and it's the 4 weeks before Christmas. So our church is probably completely converted to the church calendar. So
yeah, you've mentioned this.
We follow the church calendar. Advent, we don't do it as strictly as our Catholic and Episcopal and Anglican brothers and sisters do, but we definitely follow it in the way we structure our teaching and things like that. Yeah. So,
well, tell me about that, Eric.
Well, I think I'm excited about Advent because it does two things. One, the thing that I've been learning more about is Advent is much, like Lent, and that it involves fasting, because in the ancient church there's a saying, and that you fast before you feast.
Okay.
And so Christmas was never, the 12 days of Christmas is in a sense about the celebration of Christmas.
Yeah.
Right. Not just one day, but it's a feasting. And so you're celebrating the birth of the King who changed the world. And so it's a feast. But before you feast...
Is that where the 2 turtle doves come in?
Yeah, you got to bring in your 2. You kill them, eat them, make a pie out of them. I don't know.
Turtle dove pie?
Turtle dove pie.
Yeah. 5 golden rings. Donuts.
Donuts. There you go. Yeah, I don't know the whole history of that song. I'm sure somebody can tell us. But what I like about it is that it forces us to look at both the coming of the King in the past, in Jesus' birth, and then the coming of Jesus. So you're looking forward and looking backwards. And that's how that's how Easter and Lent are set up, is you're looking back at the cross, and you're in this process of repentance, and you're also looking forward to Easter and the resurrection. So there's these cool things tied into that. But the fasting part is cool to me because there's a preparing to party. I mean, that's kind of built into Christian kind of thinking, is that you prepare to party. And that we have Have
you thought about that as a tagline for your church, for the village? Prepare to party?
Yeah, maybe we should remove healing the city one person at a time and just be the village. Prepare to party.
That's pretty sweet, actually.
It is.
Theologically, it's even the more you ponder it, the better it gets.
It is. Maybe the next church plant that kind of comes out of our communities should, whatever it is,
Yeah.
I don't know. We have the table. Is the last church? Is there another funky name?
What's between the village and the table? Just let's see. You got the village. You got the table.
You got mission.
I'm just trying to think. The village, the table, the front door.
The front door. Prepare to party. All right. Yeah. We definitely have the next church plant.
There it is.
All right. Just looking for a pastor. Yeah. Anyway, so for me, like this year in particular, it's like, okay, so starting with Advent, what kind of fast am I going to enter? Usually, historically, Advent fasts tend to be pretty light. Usually they're a day. But they always involve food.
Yeah.
But so just thinking about what am I going to create room for to like prepare myself to celebrate the birth of Jesus.
Yeah.
And my hope of the coming of Jesus. And victory and ending all of the suffering. So so for me, the Advent is just exciting in that way. It's just a way of anchoring back into the birth of Jesus.
Yeah.
And looking into the return of Jesus. So.
Yeah. No, that's good. I should probably be doing more with that.
Well, I just think what I've learned is that the church calendar is there for discipleship.
Right.
And all these things, they like reset us. They're built there to like remind us of what we're doing, reconnect us to the basics and the more simple things of faith.
So I'm imagining some, former Catholic buddy sitting at the table saying, or potentially former Catholic or former high church going, it doesn't work. Nobody gets discipled. It's just rigmarole. It's rituals, Eric. Nobody's getting discipled through this. Did you hear that different voice? That wasn't me. That was our buddy over here at the table.
Your buddy at the table. There's a guy listening, and he rolls around and is like, hey.
Yeah, it was Todd.
It was Todd. He's like, hey, I was at a high church, and it was just a bunch of ritual, and nobody cared about anybody.
Yeah, that was strong discipleship, Eric.
I think you're pointing your finger at the wrong thing.
Don't talk to me. Talk to Todd.
Todd, you're pointing your finger at the wrong thing. It's not the ritual. And we all have rituals. That's not the issue. The issue is the heart of people and the way those systems care for people. I don't think if you have people who are empowered by the Holy Spirit and who are pursuing one another, ritual will change you.
Yeah.
If it's, I know plenty of Catholics and Episcopals and Anglicans who are great men and women of God who practice very deep ritual.
Yeah.
And it changes them, and it did change them. So, yes, people, high church. Oh, I don't know. I think liberalism moved into the high church, and so that affected.
Hey, there's a secondary topic. What do you mean by that? Liberalism moved into the high church? Because I think some of our friends might hear that and they go, yes, Bernie Sanders.
Bernie Sanders.
Or some, what do you mean by when you say liberalism there? Are you taught, tell us about that.
Well, the short version of liberalism is that the church, in particular, that, I guess we're thinking about what you and I would consider high church, because the Bible-based church and the non-denominational church was a response to this, in a sense. But what happened was there was a movement theologically and that was connected to ritual. I mean, this is complicated, but it was moved in where the form of things is what mattered, not necessarily the truth of things.
Yes.
And so this is why ritual becomes a kind of a thing to attack.
Yes.
Is that people go through the motions, they do the things. It's a place of community, social justice and action, those kinds of things, but it's not.
But the belief behind them doesn't
necessarily matter.
So
there was some undermining of the deity of Christ, undermining the resurrection of Christ.
And this kind of followed in the scholarly world. So I would call this theological liberalism.
Yes.
It wouldn't be necessarily the same as today's progressivism or something like that. Though, could you trace some lineage between the two? Sure, probably. And probably today's new conservatism, you could trace lineage there too. But this would be around times that in scholarly circles there's a lot of criticism of the Bible as ancient text. A lot of that has been re-examined these days, actually. Sure. But there was following that criticism within academia, scholars often in the larger seminaries that were then attached to what you would call more, stronger denominations of the day started to question these things, and those questions started to trickle down into the ministers, started to trickle down into the churches. And people began to be discipled in churches, but not taught that the scriptures were necessary of God or even reliable. Among other things.
Yeah, so in the 1920s, this kind of began, this kind of movement of a more liberal kind of process. And then World War II happened. And then out of that came a lot of German scholarship and questioning of God and all that kind of stuff, and criticism of text, and then the liberal movement, like the liberal movement into the high church happened, and then neo-orthodoxy became a response to that. So we can get it.
Yeah, and then World War II probably had a very different impact on Europe than it did on the States. So a lot of people in what, when you look back on the 50s and stuff would have been kind of longing for the structure of a previous time, not, while their larger denominational counterparts were being shaped by the European thinking.
Yeah, and I think the separation between life at home and life at church. I hear this a lot from people who are in their 60s, so they grew up in this movement, if they grew up in the Methodist community or they grew up in the Episcopal church, is that, Dad taught Sunday school, you learn about Jesus, all these kinds of things, but then you go home and none of that spirituality it's just completely gone. It's not integrated at all. So it's just sort of a thing you do.
Yeah.
Not necessarily. So like relationship with Jesus, an integration of your belief didn't happen. So, I hear a lot of people say, oh yeah, I came to Christ and this is why Campus Crusade has a lot of success, is that a lot of children coming out of these churches found Jesus in college. Right? They had some background, but relationship with God wasn't something that was emphasized. And then you meet Navigators or Campus Crusade or InterVarsity. In the 60s and 70s and 80s, they had a strong movement of seeing people come to Christ who had background with Christ, but no real relationship with him.
Yeah. Interesting.
So, yeah, I don't know. That's, but anyway, Advent. Yeah, I love Advent. I love Christmas. It's a good time. It's a time to be excited about what God did.
Yeah.
It's a pretty powerful thing. So you guys do a Christmas series. Does that start this week?
Yeah.
So you kind of follow Advent because this is the
close.
first Sunday of Advent.
Yeah.
And what are you guys focusing on?
Well, so this whole year our theme for the year has been this idea of being an outpost church that has become kind of key for us, like dialing in a little bit of why we're trying to do church among a certain group, and emphasizing some certain things. And so this Christmas series is exploring Christmas from that perspective, kind of thinking about, we see in the Christmas story the same people that we're imagining when we think about being an outpost church. We don't think this is actually a new idea or one that any other church couldn't relate to. It's just different language around it. But it's, we see learned scholars who have been seeking God, and in the wise men we see people who are
the least of these,
and the shepherds. The language I was going to put around it was, they're maybe in the society, but not considered important enough to be included in the religious system.
Well, they couldn't be part of the
welcomed right in, and we see Mary and Joseph who are grew up in the community of faith, but are kind of an unexpected hero and heroine in a way, in that you would think that somebody high and mighty would be chosen, and they are not. And so we're kind of looking at it through those lenses. And,
that's cool. I read, I think it was Alan Hirsch who wrote, just like, the Jesus's birth, or not like Luke opens up with two women talking about revolution, two pregnant women talking about revolution. It's kind of a cool thought. In the middle of nowhere, you have these two pregnant ladies who hold like the future of the world in their stomachs. That's kind of a crazy concept. Yeah. That's cool. We're doing a little journey through the Psalms. So Psalms.
Okay.
So we start this week in
just for Advent.
Just for Advent. Psalms that reflect the kingship of Jesus. Psalms that reflect the anticipation of things. So like Psalm 122, out of the ascent Psalms, coming from going to Jerusalem, anticipating the celebration of Passover. So that kind of sense of, this is a journey to the birth of Christ that we're going to go through.
Yeah.
And looking at Jesus as king and kind of reflecting on how the Psalms talk about him. So
yeah, nice.
That's kind of where we're at. It should be fun.
Yeah.
I'm excited. Yeah. What do you, anything special for Christmas? Like, are you going to stay at home and just hang out with fam, or?
We don't have any unique or special plans for Christmas. Other than, will there be some lights and trees and such? Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. That's what we do.
Yeah. So no out of town trips or people, lots of people coming in out of town.
No.
Yeah, we're kind of local boys, so most of our peeps are around us. And
Yeah. No, we're laying low.
That's cool.
So.
And your mom is with you, right? So that's kind of cool. It's very, family.
It's there. We've been celebrating Christmas all year. Grandma's here.
Grandma's here. Yeah, that's cool.
Buying each other presents. No. It's funny you asked this because as I'm thinking about it, I'm going, I'm not sure right this second, Eric. I probably need to go to the village Sunday. I think I need to anticipate something. I'm just kind of ho hum on it right now. I'm not ho ho ho. I'm ho hum.
You're not ho ho ho.
Ho hum is a combo of Santa and Scrooge.
It is actually
ho and hum.
yeah. There you go.
I just haven't. I think. I'm just kind of in this.
That's you, not me.
No, it is me, and it's not on the table. So
yeah.
I haven't built up an anticipation. I'm just kind of traipsing along.
I think probably it helps that at the village this weekend was our soup supper, and so it's sort of the kickoff of soup supper, Thanksgiving. Boom, we're launching into Christmas, so we kind of have the momentum and. We talk about, fallow month and everybody resting. And so to me, it's like, this is it. And I'm so excited. There's a shift in pattern and all that kind of stuff. So,
it's really good. Yeah, I was, I saw your posts about the soup supper and stuff. And I love, you guys have a good sense of some good traditions that are, you've done a good job of cultivating those and anticipating those, and it's fun to see. It's really cool. I think we probably need to settle into a few more. I don't know about your early years, Eric, but we've talked about all the various disruptions of the last couple of years and all that. It feels like we have a different church. It feels like we've got a church plant this year, in a way, and so I think, I'm just going to get raw and real on Faith Over Breakfast here.
Raw and real with Andy Littleton.
I think it's hard for me to celebrate things that happened 5-6 years ago. Because it doesn't feel like those people are really there anymore.
Yeah, you guys had a lot of turnover.
Yeah, so that's a tough thing to imagine doing. So anyway, if you want to meet with me, how much do you charge? Because I could probably talk about that.
Well, I'd be happy to hang out with you.
Oh, thanks, Eric. Anyway,
we could get a cup of coffee that's not recorded.
Perfect.
Yeah.
But do you have that? Is that, or do you have more? You got more people who are, or does it matter? Or do you just do the celebrating and invite the people in? Maybe that's the real question. Or or has this been a unique time and it's different?
I think, and Rod added to this, but I think it is certainly who I am, is like, this is a celebration that I'm going to celebrate, and I want all of you to be part of this.
So whether you've been there or not, we're doing this. Yeah.
So part of it's that, and part of what I think what I've learned about ritual is that it's what holds us together. Right? Because if you have, I think some of my strongest friends are actually the appointment friends I have. Like, we do this thing every Thursday.
Yeah.
Versus the friends who I'm like, oh yeah, well, hey, I love you, man. And you live down 3 doors down, but we don't really ever plan anything. Yeah. It's just spontaneous. So maybe once or twice a year we have some spontaneous intensity, and then that's really it. Like, unless you got things that are planned and you do them ritually together, it doesn't hold us together.
That's true. I think that changes as life goes on. As I've noticed that more and more the people who it's like, we're going to maybe see you every once in a while, it just feels near impossible to really maintain a connection.
Yes.
I remember hearing you say years back that, like, if you're not in my community, I can't really invest in this relationship or something like that. Would you have said that?
Yes. No, that would have been me.
Yeah. And I have thought about that because I always, I even just had a conversation around this of, like, with somebody who wants to connect and they're not in our community. And I'm thinking to myself, what are the chances of actually investing in this? I think they're very low. And I feel bad saying no to people, and I don't want to say no.
It's hard.
But at the same, it's not even something, I didn't even want to say no. But at the same time, I'm just like, I'm not going to get my hopes up that this is going to be really that meaningful. Just because, like, even if we have a great dinner, I'm not going to see you again for a while. There's no way. We'd have to neglect our own people to do it.
Well, in one of my more famous sermons at the Village, I talked about who's on your island.
Yeah.
That's not my idea, but that you can only have 3 close friends, 10 significant friends, and in total, and then you have 30 that you can be connected to out of that.
Yeah.
So, and then everyone else is just kind of swimming around your island trying to get into the 30, and the 30 are trying to get into the 10. Maybe they're not, but once one sort of falls out, another will fall in, and big chunks of your family occupy that 10.
Yeah.
So you can't have we have this deep, deep longing for close friends and a whole bunch of people, but really, you're created to be connected to about 30 with any kind of intimate significance, right? And outside of that, you begin to start feeling stressed out if there are demands for more intimacy there. And so when you're in our kind of job, where our church, when I kind of do the who's connected, who kind of comes regularly to our community, who belongs, well, we have about 100 adults.
Yeah.
And I can't be friends with all 100 adults.
Right.
I want to be friends with all 100 adults. I really want to be close and connected to them, but I can't be. And then when there are other people, this is where I struggle, and you see it because you've been around me a lot. I struggle to connect to other pastors because it's not because I don't want to. I just don't know how to. I'm kind of in this I don't know how to fit all of these people in.
Well, and you start realizing when you get together with other pastors that many of them aren't connected with anybody in their community.
Yes.
They're looking for their own. They're looking for an island outside of their community. You're not.
No.
And I don't think I am per se. I've got a little more tendency toward the people not in my church to be connected to than you do. But I don't have a ton of room for it. Yeah.
Right. And you're a little bit more extroverted in a different way than I am.
Yeah. I'm very comfortable with a number of surface level friendship. And that's not to say they're not meaningful.
No, not at all.
But I'm okay with seeing somebody once a month, having a good 15-minute talk and not seeing them again for another month.
Right.
That doesn't bother me a bit. Or once a year for that matter. I don't feel neglected by somebody if they didn't check in on me.
Right.
And most people, there are, from time to time, there's somebody where I'm like, oh, I really enjoyed this. I'd be cool to hang out more. But by and large, I'm cool with the check-in or the little chat about whatever topic. And, maybe I'll see you. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Sweet. There you go.
Yeah,
bonus material.
You just got some bonus material. So, well, Andy, thank you. This was actually really good.
Yeah, sweet. We better in the intro. We better tell them about it, right?
Yeah,
so they know. All right. Well, thanks for joining us. You can always email us at faithoverbreakfast@gmail.com. As always, I feel like I just need to say thanks for giving a rip about Andy and Eric. It means a ton.
Yeah, we have fun. I think.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Okay. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah.
So thanks for tuning in. See you next time.
You've been listening to Faith Over Breakfast with Pastor Eric Siepen and Pastor Andy Littleton. Please share us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Thank you.